Welcome to Cosmic Scene with Jill Jardine. I'm your host, Jill Jardine, Master's in Counseling Psychology, longtime astrologer, psychic healer, and yogi. In this episode, I'm going to share the astro update for May 2025. Better late than never. I was in the vortexes of Sedona in early May, received a lot of downloads, and went to the fifth dimension and back. And now I'm here to share May's astro update. So stay tuned. Welcome to the episode on the astrology of May 2025. I will share the key dates and astrological activities during the month of May, and then I'll go back and give you the download of what that means. So here are the key dates. In early May, May 1st to 3rd, we had Venus conjunct Neptune in the sign Aries. On May 4th, big pivotal day as Pluto retrograded in Aquarius. May 10th, we have Mercury transiting into Taurus. We have the big Scorpio full moon, WESAK moon coming on May 12th. May 20th, the Sun transits into Gemini. On May 24th, Saturn transits into Aries. That's a big one. May 25th, Mercury transits Gemini. And on May 26th, Memorial Day, a Gemini new moon. So in early May, this is going to be important later, even though we are recording it after this date, but from May 1st through the 3rd, Venus conjuncted Neptune. This was a really nice seeding, and it was in the sign of Aries, creating maybe new beginnings around relationship. And so people were probably thinking about what they want going forward and how they want to bring more magic into their life. On May 4th, we had Pluto retrograding in Aquarius, which was a very, very big one. I personally am very relieved as an Aquarian because it's taken the heat off of months and months of transformation.
Hallelujah!
Pluto going retrograde now lets us integrate everything that's gone down since November. So it's kind of a big deal. When the 4th was with us on May 4th, powerful Pluto pulsed into retrograde until October 14th, 2025. And as I said, being pounded by Pluto as an Aquarian, I felt this shift personally and breathed a big sigh of relief. Since Pluto was in Aquarius November 9th, interesting enough, it was the exact day my father died. And then my cat died as Pluto went over my natal sun, and I've been undergoing ongoing ego deaths. The reason I'm sharing this is because astrology is real. It does affect us, and not just if we're astrologers. They are actual energetics that we need to be aware of, and this is why we share the astrology on Cosmic Scene with Jill Jardine. So for everybody, when Pluto retrogrades until October now, we get to revisit our transformational process. We get to look at what is dying and leaving our lives and how we can rebirth ourselves. Pluto is the planet of death, rebirth, and transformation. So its retrograde subtly affect our relationship to slow-moving changes taking place in society. When Pluto's retrograde, it gives time for a population to integrate big shifts in situations and consciousness. So if we look at collectively what's going on since November, oh my gosh, we've been in a whirlwind here in the United States with power plays and other shifts. So Pluto retrograding now for the next 5 months will help to, kind of go deeper and maybe even undo some of these radical or impulsive decisions that have been made by the powers that be. Pluto retrograde sometimes will wake up groups of people to power plays that have gone on in governments, military, media, or other groups, Billionaire Boys Club, who hold power that exists in a population. So when Pluto backspins once a year for about 5 months, it is time when we can kind of reboot and rework. And when Pluto retrogrades, those born during the sign is retrograding in this case, it's Aquarius, as well as Scorpios, who are naturally ruled by Pluto, will be impacted. So that's a big shift that happened in early May, on May 4th, and continues throughout the summer. And we're going to be seeing the outer planets one at a time, all going retrograde. And so this will give us time to kind of take a breath and maybe undo some of what was forced upon us in the early part of the year. For instance, Saturn is going to go retrograde in mid-July, which will really impact us societally. And we're going to have Neptune retrograde as well in early July. So July is going to be a very interesting month because we'll have 3 outer planets retrograde, and then we also have Uranus going into Gemini. So May in general, with this Pluto retrograde and some of the energies, is going to be more of an integration month and a calm month. May, compared to the first 4 months of the year when there's been a lot of challenges, will be more of a, I want to say, calm month. The Taurus energy will be very grounding. Get out there and walk in early May up until the 20th when things get kind of lit up with the Gemini energy. And so Mercury goes into Taurus, enhancing that groundedness, the planet of communication and earthy Taurus. We can ground our thinking, become less spacey, clear mental clutter, focus on those things that are supportive and nourishing. And actually, we can do a lot of financial planning when Mercury's in Taurus. It's only in there for about 3 weeks, but still, this is a really good time to get your finances in order. The sun is still in Taurus until May 20th. So really do take care of all those worldly issues that keep you grounded and in embodiment. And that's the big takeaway too in May, is get very embodied. What does that mean? It means get out of your head, into your heart, into your body, and be preparing yourself for the coming whirlwinds that will hit us in July. Then we have the powerful WESAK Full Moon, the Scorpio Full Moon on May 12th. The Scorpio full moon is usually the most powerful full moon of the year. It's considered very magical and mystical because of its connection to the WESAK festival. In Buddhist theology, it really will help us to release what doesn't serve. Scorpio Pluto ruled is all about peeling off the layers psychologically, physically, and other ways. So it's a really good time to release. And then on a spiritual note, that WESAK moon, we like to talk about that, and we definitely want you to think of a way to celebrate that. So the Scorpio full moon, also known as the WESAK moon, arrives on May 12th at 12:56 p.m. Eastern Time. This full moon occurs at 22 degrees Scorpio. The Sabian symbol for 22 degrees Scorpio is, quote, hunters shooting wild ducks. The keynote is the socially accepted release of an individual's or group's aggressive instincts, unquote. And more from Dane Rudar's description in an astrological mandala. Quote, this stresses in the socialization of man's primitive instincts according to a cultural ritual. Social hunting is a regulated seasonal outlet for male aggressiveness, a safety valve for emotional pressures in human beings in whom animal compulsions and biospheric values are still strong, unquote. Well, what does that all mean? Well, I interpret this symbol as warning us that the gig is up. There may be a situation which arises globally in this lunar window, meaning until the next full moon in June, which will show up, that will be ruled by male aggressiveness, which comes from the underdeveloped psychological urges and ego-driven impulses. We may have to deal with the results of the rule of those actions until the collective wakes up and realizes that we can't let those in power benefit, such as the billionaire boys club who will hunt and plunder. We need conscious leadership, which benefits all and the collective. So that's the Sabian interpretation of what might transpire in the month after the WESAK moon, so from about mid-May to mid-June. But the WESAK brings us heightened spiritual energies available to seed the new earth. Wisdom and enlightenment seep in during the WESAK festival, including the 2 days before. So that would be the 10th and 11th of May, the May 12th full moon. And then they distribute for 2 days after, the 13th and 14th. So this is a very powerful time. Chant, eat, pray, love, and perform a special ritual. According to the Theosophical Society, the Lucis Trust, which brings those teachings to us, quote, humanity's cooperative effort to invoke the energies of light and love can be given a tremendous impetus by working together in meditative and invocative prayers at the time of the WESAK festival. The WESAK festival is a 5-day period at the time of the full moon, the 2 days preceding the moon, the day of the festival, and the 2 succeeding days. as I mentioned. The exact hour of the full moon itself is of tremendous importance because at that moment, the sun and earth stand in unimpeded alignment. At this time, it is as if a door stands open between the spiritual hierarchy and humanity, which can make possible great expansions in consciousness, expansions which are not possible at other times of the year. In her book, Externalization of the Hierarchy by Alice Bailey, she writes, quote, at the time of the WESAK festival, I would call your attention to the fact that the annual return of the Buddha to bless his people everywhere and to convey the message of wisdom, light, and love to humanity, coming as he does from the very heart of deity itself, is the outer evidence and guarantee of inner divine guidance and revelation in this present world cycle of 2,500 years. Year by year, Buddha returns. For a brief minute, he reminds us that God exists and ever loves, that he is not unmindful of his people, that the heart of the universe is unalterable compassion, and that humanity is not alone. My Sanskrit mantra guru, Thomas Ashley Farran, Namadeva Acharya, describes the WESAK ceremony as thus, quote, in a secret valley in the Himalayas, the Christ presides over a ceremony in which a large crystal bowl is filled with water awaiting the coming of the Buddha at the exact moment of the full moon. When the blessed moment arrives, the Buddha appears in a brilliant golden globe, hovering over the assembled masses of saints, sages, and spiritual teachers in and out of body from all world's religious traditions. The Christ chants a secret mantra over the bowl of water, which serves as a signal for the Buddha to disperse the great outpouring of spiritual energy and light which everyone receives. Finally, the spiritually charged water from the bowl is distributed to all who have gathered, consummating the purpose of the gathering. The assembled teachers and healers then return to the places from which they had come to continue their work fully charged. So, as I mentioned, it's really a 5-day festival this year. It will be the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th of May. Very good time because of the strong spiritual juice. So it's really good for doing prayers, mantras, meditations, and invocations. So one of the Sanskrit mantras that Namadeva Acharya assigned to the WESAK moon is a Tibetan mantra called the Kalachakra Mantra, which the Dalai Lama says if we chant it, we will clear planetary and personal karma and hasten personal and planetary evolution. Kalachakra means the spirit of the wheel of time and invokes the Tibetan Shiva. It is all seed mantras, so it's very powerful. Some have purported to travel to different times and different dimensions chanting this mantra. I'll chant it 9 times. Om Haksa Malavarayam Swaha. 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 It's also auspicious to chant to Shiva, the great spiritualizing principle of consciousness, and his mantra, Om Namah Shivaya. I'll chant that 9 times. Om Namah Shivaya. 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 So have your own ritual, but those are a few mantras you can chant. And later in the month, it's also a good time to set intention at the Gemini new moon, which this year happens on Memorial Day. But between the WESAK Scorpio full moon of May 12th and the new moon in Gemini on the 26th, we have a couple transits to be aware of. On May 17th to the 18th, we have the Sun in Taurus conjuncting Uranus in Taurus. And this has happened since May 2018. So Uranus has been navigating the earthy, stable, and predictable sign of Taurus, but is getting ready to close his journey there as we get into July. And this is one of the last major alignments Uranus will make. And so the Sun and Uranus coming together, I view as very positive as a Aquarian who's ruled by Uranus, also very positive for all you Taurians out there. But them coming together brings that Uranian energy to a rebirth, which is change, excitement. We also have to think about grounding and stability. And as I said, it's a really good time for embodiment of higher energies, higher frequencies. And the universe really wants us to embody all of those positive changes and get very healthy going forward in body, mind, spirit. And that will take us through the crazy time when Uranus actually goes into changeable sign Gemini, starting in July. So use this conjunction, which goes on for a couple days, that occurs between May 17th and 18th. And then we have the sun transiting into Gemini on the 20th. So the sun moves out of grounded Taurus into social, quick-witted Gemini, the sign of the twins. Lots of communication, lots of energy, a lot of heady energy swirling around. So it's really good to get grounded in your body before that transit into Gemini. On May 24th, Saturn shifts into Aries. Saturn moves into Aries, creating a new karmic cycle. It's going to join Neptune there, which went in at the end of March. And Saturn has been in Pisces for approximately the last 2.5 years. The last time it was actually in Aries was about 28, 29 years ago. I did do a podcast on that, which is in Cosmic Scene with Jill Jardine. I believe it was released in March 2025. Go back and listen to that podcast that describes what to expect with Saturn in Aries through 2028. Saturn in Aries indicates a new chapter of self-growth and mastery. It really is a time of new beginnings. And think back to what was happening when Saturn was last in Aries 28 to 29 years ago. You get to go to the next level. Also be aware of where Aries is in your natal chart. Even if you don't have planets in Aries, it does rule a sector of the 12 houses of the zodiac, 12 parts of your chart. So it could affect something that you're not even aware of. It could also affect what we call the angles of the chart, the ascendants, the descendant, the midheaven, all important stuff in astrology. Also, it could be affecting your rising sign, which is the ascendant. So even though it may not be your sun or moon, there are other planets that Saturn and Aries could affect. On May 25th, Mercury, ruler of Gemini, moves into Gemini out of Taurus. And so this will amp up the frequency and bring a lot of quick thinking, sharp, communicative energy into the mix. Gemini new moon motivates on Memorial Day, May 26th at 11:02 p.m., ushering in a summer of socialization, connection, and inspiration. Jovial Gemini is enhanced by sign ruler Mercury, joining the sun, moon, and Jupiter in the sign of the twins. Exciting adventures and activities abound. Our personal futures feel bright with potentials and possibilities popping up. Plan your trips and connections for the coming months now. This is a precursor for the crazy antics of Uranus transiting into Gemini in July. Enjoy the ride. Stay tuned for the lucky days for each zodiac sign in May 2025. Welcome back to hear your lucky days for May 2025. Happy birthday, Taurus. It's your month of luck and love, especially before 5/20. Time to get your groove on, plant your seeds, and receive. Keep bringing in more security and stability in your life for when Uranus leaves your sign. Your lucky days, Taurus, are May 24th and 25th. Gemini, you are between realities as Jupiter gets ready to leave your sign in June and Uranus jumps in July. So get yourself very grounded and be prepared to move fast. Your lucky days in May are May 26th, 27th, 28th. Cancer, you love the Taurus vibes in early May, keeping you grounded and calm and peaceful. You bask in newfound creativity and comforts. So your lucky days are 4 in May. May 1st, 2nd, and then the end of the month, the 29th and 30th of May. Leo, things are moving fast and furious. You're really being asked to get grounded and wrap up loose ends. When Uranus jumps into Gemini in July, it's a wild ride for Leo. Expect the unexpected, but in May, really take care of your physical life. Your lucky days, Leo, are May 3rd, 4th, 5th, and May 31st. Virgo, you love all the Taurus planets throwing favorable aspects, and you may be receiving a boon in early May with love and money. Then things get a little wacky in June and July, so make the most. Your lucky days in May are the 6th and 7th. Libra, you are feeling very blissful as your fellow Venusian sign ruler Taurus sends some pleasure and refreshment to you. You get to take a little vacation in May. And at the end of May, as planets jaunt into Gemini, fellow air sign, you'll have a new cycle of connection and communication. Your lucky days, Libra, are May 8th, 9th, and 10th. Scorpio, you really are rebooting yourself, getting ready for a new frontier. So use May as your balancing act to calm you down and prepare and get your money house in order. Your lucky days, Scorpio, are May 11th and 12th. Sagittarius is going to do well even under all that Gemini influence in late May, early May. Again, you're one who needs to get your house in order, get very grounded, earth yourself, go in nature, feel revitalized. Your lucky days, Sag, are May 13th and 14th. Capricorn, you're boosted by the influx of Taurian planets in early May. You may get some new sources of income. That Scorpio full moon on May 12th could open up portals of potentiality and plant seeds for the future under these influences. Your lucky days, Capricorn, are May 15th, 16th, and 17th. Aquarius, you get to take a big breather in May because Pluto is retrograde. Time to integrate everything that's gone on for you since November and get yourself very calm. Find ways to be comforted after the unwieldy hand of Pluto purging your life. Now you can start looking forward and prepare for the next Pluto wave that's going to hit in October. But your lucky days in May, Aquarius, are the 18th, 19th, and 20th. Pisces flows in the Taurus terrain, enjoying the stability and security of the party of planets in the sign of the bull. You're so psyched that Saturn's leaving your sign. You, too, are going to breathe easier at the end of May once Saturn has left the building. Your lucky days, Pisces, are the 21st and 22nd of May. Aries, oh boy, May is a mixed bag for you. You got Venus, Neptune going through your sign, love and money abound. Then we have Saturn joining the Aries airwaves, and it's going to be a fiery fest of love, money. Make sure you take care of your physical reality, Aries, before Saturn hits home. Your lucky days, Aries, are May 23rd and 24th. I hope you enjoyed this episode on the Astrology of May 2025. Remember to subscribe, download, share, and give us a 5-star review. This is Cosmic Scene with Jill Jardine, sending you cosmic currents through the quantum field. Stop.